Hello, my name is Mieke Masselink. I work for Connect, specifically for the Smart Mobility Embassy. And today we're talking about mobility in modern cities. I would like to give you an idea of what is happening in the Netherlands when it comes to developing and deploying smart and green mobility. I work for Connect, and Connect is a public-private network organization for smart mobility and sustainable logistics in the Netherlands. Connect is, as the word says, connecting and aligning government agencies, universities, research organizations, and private companies. So we are a triple helix network, so to say, and we play an active role in initiating and accelerating innovation projects and developments for the logistics and mobility industry. And one of the initiatives of Connect is the Smart Mobility Embassy, where we mainly focus on the international collaboration. So where are the opportunities for Dutch organizations to expand their knowledge and expertise, learn from others, and who are the organizations that are interested in collaborating with the Dutch? That's what we try to connect. So the Smart Mobility Embassy is the ecosystem that organizes the Dutch proposition abroad and connects with other countries, regions, cities, institutes, and companies to really discover what we can learn from each other and how we can make our mobility system smarter and more sustainable. And why do we want to do that? Because there are quite some challenges. Nowadays, if you look at, when we're talking about modern cities, how do we keep our cities more livable? We are looking for less congestion on the roads. We want less emissions. We want more space for recreation, to spend time with our family in a green area. But at the same time, we order online and we want our package to be delivered as soon as possible. And we want our supermarkets to be filled with fresh food. And we want to be flexible and have access to mobility, to move from A to B wherever we want. And those are some conflicting goals, and I think that's the challenge for all of us now that we should be working on. And when we talk about modern cities today, I can't just skip the whole coronavirus and not talk about that. Because everyone is adapting and finding ways to deal with this crisis. Although the consequences are difficult for all of us, this period also presents us an opportunity. We have the opportunity to organize our mobility in a truly different manner. The urgency of the situation is pretty much clear to everyone now. And the Connect network is convinced that we can emerge stronger from this crisis. We are currently working on a smart restart plan, where we are looking at solutions that we should implement now, but that have a sustainable impact on the long term as well. And an example of that is the acceleration of mobility as a service. How do you organize that? But also, for example, the mobility footprint program. So what you see, what in the logistics have been already taken some great steps with the logistics footprint, the CO2 emissions. But I think there are some possibilities, and the time is now there for organizations to also work on their mobility footprint. And then I see behind me beautiful the Netherlands. So I would like to start talking about the basics about the Netherlands. What should you know? Well, we're a very small country, so to say. We're very small. But there live quite a lot of people, so we have crowded cities, mostly on the west side of the Netherlands. And we have the biggest harbor in Europe, in Rotterdam. So there's a lot of import and export through our streets, going mostly to Germany, but also through our waterways, and even more now on rail as well. And besides the port, we have another big port, which is the airport, where there's a lot of busy air traffic. Schiphol, the international airport in Amsterdam. And everyone knows that we're worldwide known for our biking culture. Now with the whole coronavirus, we see that there's a lot of interest in the Dutch expertise on biking, which is a good thing. Let's see. And why the Netherlands? So why the Netherlands is interested when it comes to collaborate on smart mobility. We have a cutting-edge deployment environment, state-of-the-art infrastructure, facilities and support. I'll tell you a bit more about our regulatory innovation and the proof of performance. Well, the Netherlands combines the demanding environment, the need to innovate, very receptive and open society with an attractive scale, very small. So that's actually the perfect combination for the deployment of new smart mobility solutions. Then the infrastructure. Well, there's a strong physical infrastructure. Our logistics infrastructure is quite strong, as I said before. But also our EV infrastructure, for example, the electric vehicle charging infrastructure. And of course, there is the digital infrastructure, the 4G coverage in the Netherlands, looking now at 5G as well. But next to the physical infrastructure for all the modes of transport and the high data connectivity in the Netherlands, we're also organized to support the introduction and deployment of smart mobility solutions. So the way that we are organized is interesting, and I think the Smart Mobility Embassy is a good example of the visibility proof of how well organized the mobility ecosystem in the Netherlands, for example, is. Public and private parties that are collaborating, getting together to work on certain developments really together. And I think the Smart Mobility Embassy tries to be that point of entry, that access point for also the international collaborations to link with what is happening in the Netherlands. And there's, as I said, the close public and private partnerships. An example of that is Talking Traffic, which is a public-private collaboration for a nationwide deployment of the cellular-based CITS services. And also, for example, the mobility as a service approach in the Netherlands with a nationwide policy combined with 7 large scale-up pilot areas. Regulatory innovation. Well, the Netherlands is known for an attractive and open attitude towards regulation of innovations, where we also initiate projects and challenges. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the truck platooning challenge, for example, where we had several companies platoon towards the harbor, towards the port of Rotterdam. We have an experimental law on self-driving vehicles, so there have been done quite some testing experiments already, even in cities. And there's quite an open source data protocols, for example, on traffic. where we have historical data and real-time data that has been collected and shared, open data. We have a road authority with a very strong international reputation on traffic management, but also on vehicle testing, working with a lot of international clients already, like Tesla. And an interesting one is there's some companies working on the driver's license of the future for the self-driving car. And another example is the cooperative intelligent access. Can we make use of the data to enter a city? And who's the owner of the data? The provider should stay the owner. So we are also developing together with the cities and the companies how we can organize this access to cities that makes it beneficial for the cities, but also for the users that have to enter the city. Proof of performance. Well, I think we went over this. When you come to the Netherlands, it's very easy to expand to Europe. And there's an easy access to both the users, but the entire stakeholders. For example, through the Smart Mobility Embassy, we would love to help you with that. And it's good that we have some great testing facilities to really put your ideas and thoughts into practice and really showcase and experiment what's working and what is not working. Let's see. Here I gave, there's an overview of some, I should move, huh? An overview of some of the examples in the Netherlands. Self-driving shuttles. These are all projects that are happening in the Netherlands, but for sure we missed some of them. These are not all of them. But it's interesting to see that a lot is happening. But we also have some vehicle innovation, which is you can really see with your eyes what is happening. That's always nice to show. We have the rowboat, where there's a boat helping in the canals of Amsterdam to help with the logistics. But we also see this vehicle on the streets, and nowadays even more with everybody ordering online. Our Dutch post office is using these vehicles. The car to go, I live in Amsterdam, you see these cars everywhere. Small electric vehicles, shared system. And what you see is that on the vehicle side, there's a lot of innovation happening, but the infrastructure side is lacking a bit in that speed, and you try to connect and align them. You see a lot of micro-mobility, new solutions, the e-steps coming on the road. How do we deal with that? That are typical discussions we would like to have with you as well, to see what is the approach of the Netherlands, what can we learn from your approach, and see what works for all of us. That doesn't mean that when it works there, it should also work there. But it's interesting to share experiences and knowledge about that. So we're not doing everything on our own, but share more. That's my presentation. Wow. For now, I would like to thank you all for your time to watch this, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you're interested now in talking to us to see what is happening here and how we can work together probably. I will be available for the Q&A, so I hope to see you there if there are any questions. And I wanted to thank also the organization, and I was very happy with a button they gave me. Keep in touch with the Dutch. I think that's really cool. I hope to keep in touch with you as well. Thank you very much.